Welcome back, everyone, to today's first session, which is the practical applications of digital technology to enhance EHS programs. This will be presented by Rob Leach, who is the Principal Product Director at EcoOnline, and we will be joined later on by Dermot Danan, who is the Senior Sales Executive and Coach for the Ireland and UK region. So without further ado, Rob, I'll pass it off to you.
Thanks, Bill. Hi, everybody. Great to be here. Pity we're all not in a big room in Atlanta or Houston for one of those sessions, but we are where we are, as our old CEO used to say. I am Liverpudlian. If you've never heard me talk before, I talk quick in a strange accent, so buckle up. This is half an hour where I'm going to go through quite a lot. And if you can't understand me, it's only half an hour to put up with me. But as I go through this, please have a think about what I'm saying. And there is a questions and session at the end of this. So we're happy to throw any hard questions at me. As Bill said, I'm the Principal Product Director for EcoOnline. My real role is to make sure the product fits it in the marketplace. So new technology, new digital technology, new anything actually, I'm always interested in. I will be joined, as Bill said, by Dermot. He's my muscle for the questions. So when I get to the end of the pitch, he will join us and I'll push all the hard questions to him. So this is the only time I ever read a slide. My pitch today is about the practical applications of digital technology to enhance EHS programs. I'm not gonna teach you all how to suck eggs. I am gonna turn it on its head a little bit and hopefully you find it interesting ride. But before I start, I'd like to just ask a question. So here's Rob's fact or fiction. So this is my element of gamification, and that's important right at the end of my presentation to think about. So if I started off by asking, is this true? There are more trees on the earth than stars in the Milky Way. Now, if you're all in a big room, socially distanced, of course, I'd ask you to put your hands up or stand up. So hopefully you're all sitting there now with your hands up if you think that's true. But are there more trees on earth than stars in the Milky Way? It is actually true, which when I was told that, it's an unbelievable fact. I think the Milky Way is the bit of the giveaway. But there are only, there are 3 trillion trees, but 100 and 400 billion stars in the Milky Way, right? Other than an interesting fact, hopefully now you will remember me. And when you're regurgitating that fact in the pub, you'll remember, oh, that was that Rob guy, that Liverpool guy from EcoOnline. Anyway, so gamification, that's why I've planted the seed. What I'm going to cover today, though, is 3 topics. I'm going to go over technology awareness, because I think that's key to harness new technology or sidestep technology that you don't need to look at. I'm going to talk about data and integration. As Bill said before, data is important, and to get data, you need good integration. And then the last topic, which is probably the most important and the biggest, is about delinking technology. I know that sounds a strange concept for someone who's supposed to be talking about practical applications of technology, but it's a concept, and I think it's quite useful in the current state of the whole world. So, as Bill said, there's no escape from technology. The speed of new technology is daily, if not hourly. Digital transformation has been going on for quite some time now. Digital innovations, you can't stop this. Your IT departments do the upgrades anyway, but digital transformation covers everything. I'm sure you've all moved from paper to Excel to solutions to now online cloud-based solutions. You've probably moved from silos to integrated to connected remote workers. They're all part of that digital transformation. I think the beauty of it now is technology can come in bite-sized options. You don't have to do the SAP type projects where you throw everything out and bring a new version of SAP in. You can get wearables and pilot them, and we'll talk about that later. You can get sensors and just take them in a small area and see actually what does that technology do for me. So I think the opportunity is massive for us this day and age, and you should harness and enjoy the fact that technology does change a lot. I think if you go to a website now and just type in new technology, I'm not promoting Google there, but you'll get a list from artificial intelligence like this one to cybersecurity. If I was in a room, I would ask somebody, what does quantum computing mean, or blockchain? Again, that's technology, relating it to EHS. EHS people aren't always experts at getting new technology and understanding it. That's not your skill. That's provided by other people, particularly Vedantics. And I'm glad Bill showed this thing, because I think this is a fantastic piece of information to look at your digital roadmap for EHS. You could cherry pick 2 or 3 of these things that are aimed at our EHS space and actually explore them. Like I said before, you've probably done some going from Excel to cloud-based solutions or remote workers to connected workers. technology is brilliant. And I think the key thing about technology awareness is understanding not only just the technology, but how it affects your business. Look, everyone on this call is from a different industry, possibly, you know, whether you're people working a cab or up a pole or with a machine outside. You've all got different hazards and risks and elements. New technology, there's not one technology that is the silver bullet for all your hazards and all your risks and all your controls. But bite-sized technology can be used in every one of these environments or people. You just got to marry it up. You also need to think about the people as well. I know this is a little bit by teaching how to suck eggs, but it is important. You know, technology to people who purchase it and run it and administer it and your vendors is all great. You're well trained, you understood it, you put it in. But then technology for someone who uses it every day, training is a key thing. For technology for people who only get exposed now and again, how do they remember how to use it? And whereas contractors on the fringe of your safe systems of work or your ecosystems, how does the new technology affect them? Do you protect them from it, or do you expose it in a different way? So one technology could be used in many different ways just to do with personas. I don't know why our fringe people push a wheelbarrow. I don't know why our designers decided to give me a fringe person on the end pushing a wheelbarrow. But that's more the people on the edge, people who haven't got to log into a system, don't know how to get inducted on site. Those people use technology totally different than someone who's doing it every day. And I think they're all part of that technology awareness that you need to go through. I don't know whether everyone's seen Rogers' adoption curve. This is a well-versed sort of theory in that, you know, are you yourselves an innovator or an early adopter or more of a conservative approach to new technology? Is your department, is your IT department, is your company? Where do you sit on that scale? Because that is important for not only getting senior backing and getting your business case approved, but even just how much risk you'd like to take. I think when new technology comes along, there are ways to de-risk it. There really are. We as a vendor, we're an EHS software provider, Eco Online. You know, we have EHS elements, audit risk, we have chemical management, we have training, the usual suite of things that you'd need. We often do proof of concepts at the innovation stage. So when we see new technology, and we can go right the way back to dash cams, when they came out, I remember getting one in the post, we plugged it in, we attached it to my car, and we straight away did a POC, recording me swerving in the car park, everybody, to try and see if it would register an unsafe act in our business system. You can get, your vendors should be doing POCs of this new technology. You should be pushing your existing vendors to say, where's your innovation roadmap? How are you looking at technology and bringing it to my party because I've already bought from you? You know, you should push your vendors. It's something we do all the time. And also we do collaboration. We do lots of things with individual clients or clients to say, do you want to pilot this new type of technology? We'll pilot it together. You're actually de-risking it. You know, you're taking the big capital expense out. You're taking the blast zone of what it could do or couldn't do to much smaller. You might pilot with a person, a team, an environment, a particular solution. And we do that a lot with our clients. So again, I think it's also, you need to lean on your vendors of either the kit or your solutions to see what are you doing? Where is your innovation roadmap? I think that's important for you to leverage. You know, don't just sit back, be proactive. You know, IT departments are never really that, it is changing, but historically IT departments always focused on your finance or your production or, you know, your customers. It's changing now. EHS is getting more of a voice and much more of an input into these things. So lean on these things. I think that reduced the risk of this new technology is the POC, the proof of concept, sorry, everybody, you know, where you try something very small before you roll it out. And I think what that does is if you do these little POCs or pilots of new technology, you get rid of this, this hype curve. And I think this is a Gartner sort of thing funded, but with new technology, there's always a huge wave of hype. It's the same when you put new technology into your system, systems in your company, you get that wave of enthusiasm, expectation. There's a lot of talk about how great it's going to be, you know, and then you get that drop of, oh, actually, it didn't do anything we thought it would do. But then you get that claw back up of, yes, it does, but it does this in this way, and it is useful, and there is ROI. And I think that's quite normal, that curve. Sometimes it's steeper, sometimes it's not so steep. But even if you implement a new technology project, you usually go through this curve. I think the slide before, what we're saying about if you pilot things or you do a really small POC, you can actually then really reduce those curves as well. Because what it does is you get very clear on what the technology does. It's okay leading the brochure and seeing the website and even seeing a demo, but you need to use it in your environment, with your people, with their skills, you know, in their environment, and see how it works. Then you get clear on its benefits. You're clear on how the technology works. You're clear on the benefits it brings to your organization, what it will do. You also get clear on some other things which are great, how long it might take to roll it out, or the time frame it takes so for costs, how long it gets to grips with it, even the communication of it, what's the blast area of this technology, what other systems does it need to integrate with, and you trial them. Therefore, you are reducing that expectation curves. Assumption is always a big problem, especially with software. You know, you can demo software and people will go away with an assumption just by seeing something. You need to be crystal clear. We always say we like no shocks after a purchase order is placed. We want all the shocks before or news before. And that's why these POCs can really help that. Excuse me, what actually will this technology do for me? What are its benefits? So the first part, a little bit about sucking eggs. I do apologize for that, but it's just to get across. Technology moves at an unbelievable pace. It really does. But there are great resources. We talked about Vedantics. There's some great consultants out there and have got experts in various types of technology. There's also some great websites as well, whether they're EHS based or whether they're technically based, that will give you the heads up on what's coming next year or the year after, just so you're aware. You don't need to be the expert in it. You can find those, but to be aware of what's coming is really useful. If anybody wants to know what the ones I use, please contact me on LinkedIn or send me an email. Happily share those things. And I think when you get that knowledge and that source of stuff, you can start relating it to where it might work as an environment, or what people would need to be considered, their personas, even the skill base that's needed, how do you integrate it, how it's supported, and you're de-risking the new technology then. You might walk away from it after a pilot, but it might be next year you budget for it, but at least you've de-risked it and you've looked at how it would integrate, how I could train people, how it would be used out in the field. I think they really are useful. I think the second bit, and this is a quicker bit, and it is a bit technical, I'm sorry, but it is about integration. And I know you're going to hear later, I think Marjorie's going to talk about it, things about data is key. I can't agree more. And the first bit to get new technology is to integrate it. So when you bring new technology in, you should start talking about it, not just what the technology does, but how to integrate it should start on day one. How does that integrate with your other EHS ecosystem you've got? Because it's probably massive. It needs to integrate with your EHS ones and also the organizational systems. You know, your EHS systems probably cover a myriad of different things, from compliance, training, health, document control, COVID tracking, event tracking, all risks. I could go on and on and on, you know, and all those, sometimes a safe system of work, sometimes a procedure, a process, a piece of kit, they all need to talk and work happily together. You know, if I look at a really a messy slide, let me say, if you think about all those systems you've got around, and some of them probably are in the same piece of software or on the same process, they all need to talk and share these days. You have to collaborate with data. The more quality and the bigger your data sets get, trust me, the better as you evolve and you can adapt and change quicker to changing requirements and risks like COVID. So let's say you've already these in place and you go on and say, we're going to get some IT sensors, on the Fuller Colour plant, because we know in there we're going to reduce risk by a heat monitor and dust monitor, and it's going to feed into our risk assessment process. That's brilliant. That's great. But does it also then talk to our compliance system? Does it also update our training records for people in the plant? Does it talk to your location beacons as well? That integration is key. And I could go on. Your monitors, great. I've got a monitor on my phone that'll even do my ECG for me and my heart rate and all those things. But does it talk to more than my health thing? Now, again, that's a secure one. So it needs to talk even more in depth about how and what is shared. But it needs to integrate and it needs to talk. And I could go on and on and on. Reality technology, you know, virtual reality, augmented reality for training, great. For digital twinning, operational excellence, perfect. It is the right technology. So it fits into training. Yeah, but then it also should talk to a permit you're issuing. Has the person been trained? It should be linking to an incident investigation to say, why didn't you do that training? Let's talk to my action tracking system. You all need to integrate properly. And there's never, ever one data source. The world doesn't work like that. So you have to think about integration. And this is where really you do need to lean on your IT and make sure they are following what's called an enterprise integration. You know, truly you need a structure and an infrastructure behind the scenes that is based on open standards and various technologies. We use what we call our event bus and a subscription model. So, for example, if we partner with a new company and it's a separate product, that's not really integrated. We want sort of a one-stop shop approach. So you log in once through single sign-on, but then all the systems in there know about me. I don't need to configure myself with permissions in system A and system B. I don't need to do the hierarchy in every system. It knows. So that integration layer takes all that complexity out the way. And then the domain expertise is in the individual technology. So you do need to think, again, it is outside the EHS zone, but it is really important for successful integration, that sort of layer. The key one, the easy one that everyone touts around is just have APIs, have an open API structure, then we'll be able to talk. And it's not untrue. Yes, if a third party comes along and says they've got open APIs or webhooks or middleware, you know, Amazon and Microsoft provide these tools now for you to talk to other systems. Integration is a lot easier, but it should be the first thing you talk about when you see new technology. This is what we use. These are all standards we use. It makes it a lot easier to integrate. Again, push your vendors, talk to your vendors about this technology, ask for their roadmap on how they're progressing with their technology. Because trust me, this technology doesn't stand still either. It needs to progress. And I think once you've done the integration, the key bit of why your integration is the data. Everybody knows, well, everybody in our organization knows data is the new oil, they say. Someone told me it's the new gold last week. It basically is. I think data-driven approaches, the empirical evidence on large data sets are fabulous for AI or just insight and learning cultures, but you need quality data, you need the right type of format, it needs to be all of those things. Data really only has good value when it's served in the right format and it's accessible. There's no point pumping thousands and thousands of data points in if they're all in the wrong format for you to use or not accessible by the right other system because it's not integrated, or it takes you forever to map it to a third system that you didn't think about to start with. It's the adage of crude oil. Crude oil is hopeless basically on its own. You know, you can't use it for anything or do anything with it. But if it's processed and in the right format, it drives the world basically at the moment until we get to grips with hydro and sunlight, but let's not go there. So you have to think about data in the same way. The way we skinned it, and I'm sorry, this is a little bit of a sell, but in Eco, we particularly a couple of years ago went to invest in what's called a graph database. This isn't the only way to do it. There's lots of ways to do this. This is the way we chose because it's what's called a schemaless. And what it does is it doesn't care what the data is. It doesn't care where the data comes from. It just knows that it's got lots of data. That is actually how a very simple graph database looks in reality. That's me looking at one of our test databases. That's basically 2 or 3 records look like that in a graph database because it links everything to everything. And the beauty of that is you can build your relationships on it. And what we do in our system, we allow to give you the rich pictures then, or the evidence. You can link incidents with risks or audits or observations or actions. You get that rich picture of the event. Even with compliance actions, you can track one action against every area in your business very quickly and see how you're progressing. That's all based on because we use this graph database. The next step for us is to use it more for data integration, so wearables or IoT sensors. Suck that data in, graph doesn't care. But what it allows us to do, because it falls part of that schemaless approach, it allows us those data insights to leverage the relationships. What is the relationship between these IoT sensors and observations or incidents that are happening? What are the triggers that are precursors to incidents that come in from our wearable people? You know, we're doing a proof of concept at the moment with a smart PPE, a headset, that when they go in an area where the noise goes too high, they're actually recording automatically an observation of unsafe automatically, and the person doesn't even know. And we trend them. So you don't need to know the person's name. We just need to know people are going in there. We're doing another one, which I'll talk about later on, with a way to push information out to people. These sort of things, these POCs allow us very quickly to see those data in the right context. You know, is that data served in the right way to the right person at the right time? I think that's key when you talk about data insights. So integration, just a quick one. there's lots of diverse EHS systems you probably run. Hopefully you've got most of them in one platform or one area, but integration is the key to harness new technology. You do need to think about the data that's coming in, how it's integrated, and really lean on IT to say, does your structure go more than knee-jerk reaction? What's your investment? Where are we going? How are you using, online services? Because there's so many, from anomaly detection to AI service you can use. And that allows you to gain insight. You can get the right data in the right context at the right time. I think just to finish up now, you'll be glad to hear just on some practical examples. You can't talk about new technology without touching AI. You can't. But I'm also going to talk some other technologies up there on the screen that might surprise you. So artificial intelligence, I think to start with, not all vendors who pitch artificial intelligence are equal. And also not everyone can predict that tomorrow there's going to be an accident. So I think artificial intelligence is a huge topic. You need to talk to the right experts at the right time. We use artificial intelligence for virtual assistants. We've exposed it in a couple of ways. We suck in SDS sheets and we use our model to pull out the right data and fill compliance with it. But the key one I want to talk to you about today is our virtual assistant. So we have a little virtual assistant and it talks to our ecosystems. It can talk to risk assessment or it can talk to incidents. And it basically, whether you're on a mobile or a desktop, you can have a conversation where the virtual assistant will cherry pick what you say using NLP, natural language processing. So your text basically gets cherry picked with the words. It knows what yesterday is, knows the date, knows Kate, someone's name, and it can start using that data from a conversation to input a form, to tell somebody, to notify somebody. So that's our virtual assistant using AIs. Now we already had that, but what we thought was, how can we circulate this better? What way could we use our virtual assistant even more than having to, you pick up a mobile phone, use the app, that type of thing. And we talked about social media. So this is the sort of delinking. Social media is out there now. You can't stop it. Can't stop anybody using it, especially if they're under 25. That's how old I am, maybe 35 now. You can't stop people from using it. It's here, it is the future, and it just grows and grows. Now, okay, at the moment, social media is for sharing pictures of your lunch and that you're sitting in the garden and those sort of things. And do the kids need to do spelling tests for tomorrow, which is often on my wife's WhatsApp groups. But you could take away social media technology from its purpose, from actually just sharing pictures of things, but use it from another purposes. And that's what we've done. We looked at social media and we cherry picked WhatsApp. And I know it's not that big in America. It is massive in Europe. But this is a chat mechanism for social media. You can have a quick chat using social media, using WhatsApp. And we've harnessed now our virtual assistant in WhatsApp. So you can go to your WhatsApp where you could call somebody or have a chat with somebody. You can actually have a chat with our virtual assistant and raise an incident. You can see these are the screens. It's having a conversation with me. And depending on what I say, it changes the questions. And within sort of half a minute, you can report an incident via WhatsApp using social media, send a photograph, and have reported an unsafe act or an unsafe condition straight away. So that's what we do now with WhatsApp. We're now looking at social media as a vehicle to push information. Now, again, you can't use it for PI or anything sensitive or health or all those things, fine. But there's nothing to stop you publishing JSAs or risk assessments or COVID updates to these vehicles or channels that your users can get, your contractors can get. In some circumstances, even if you're retail, members of the public might want to see. It's an easier way to get data out there. So that's social media. The other one we've talked about is Microsoft Teams. Now, resistance is futile with Microsoft Teams. Since COVID, it is truly, it's the first thing I switch on and the last thing that gets switched off nowadays for most of our people. It's actually allowed most people to work from home as well. Let's be honest, MS Teams. It is great for collaboration. That's what it was there, and video conferencing. But we've started to use it now as also a tool to sit behind for our virtual assistant. So take away Teams from what it was purpose was for that collaboration and sharing of knowledge and things, and actually use it because it's already mobile ready as that WhatsApp communication. So instead of using WhatsApp, now you can use MS Teams to have a conversation with our EHS system. I want to do this. Can you raise me this? And have a conversation, send it a photograph. It's secure. Your users are already using it now, and it is already mobile ready. You can actually use it straight away on a mobile. It's a great reuse of technology that you've already got. All you need to do is configure it so it talks to one of your other systems. So that's the last one. The last one to get through is sort of talk about training. Now, I know you all probably do, well, I hope you do training, and you've probably got LMS systems in place. Micro-learning is a great concept, bite-sized things. Now it's totally mobile ready. Your LMS, hopefully, you should be able to consume courses and training very quickly, very easily on the go. It's not Generation X, but younger people, you can't get them off the phone. But gamification has always been linked in with training. At the end of a course, you sit a questionnaire, you go through it just to make sure that you've got traction and you've understood it. Take gamification out of training. Think about it as a technique. Gamification is basically, it's not playing a game. It's using gaming mechanics for non-game applications. So training is gamification. You're using it. So think about a safe system of work. Think about your observation system. You want people to go out and do observations, and you want them to get motivated and committed. You want traction. What about gamifying your actual observation system? So using it to say, every time you do an online observation on time, you score points, you achieve a ranking, you get a badge. And at the end of a month, we'll put a scoreboard out to see who's the best observer, who's the best department, who's the best safest department owner. These things will drive commitment. It's proven. My daughter will play Roblox, Minecraft constantly. It's the gamification in the game itself that makes her go back. It's scoring points and spending the dollars again and again and again. It works. And I'm not saying you can apply this to all safe systems of work. Your isolations and things like that, you wouldn't do. But there are so many things you should shake and look at. Can I apply some gamification things to get motivation, to get people committed? We've done it now. We're looking at using it for simple notifications. So when you log in or when you log out, or when you hit a milestone with your weekly reminder, you get a tailored thing for you. It's like your Fitbit and your Apple Watch. Rob, another 1,000 yards and you're going to hit your daily total. Wow, I'm committed to do it. If you do another 2,000, Rob, you'll beat Craig, the developer, who I've never beaten. I should never have joined him. But it self-coaches, it self-motivates, it works. You don't need to broadcast the fact that you came second. You can do it to yourself. This one's telling me, Rob, if you get this action done this week, you got a 100% record. That might motivate me to do it. Right the way through to weekly reminders. We're trying to put insightful information through the data we're collecting in any sphere of EHS to say, actually, your department's top of the hill today. If you could even help that, if you get these two things closed out. You do need to make sure gamification doesn't focus on speed and the process of quality. And you don't want to gamify things that are a bit critical. But as a concept, you should think about gamification. We are in lots of different areas. So my first breath and second breath. Summary, look, technology's there. It's all about there, but you can lean on people like Vedantics for great advice, third-party consultants, your internal departments, and you can de-risk technology by having pilots, by doing proof of concepts with vendors in small ways, but you need to remember integration of data. It's key. And I think the last thing is, look at some technology you already use, de-link it from its purpose and see if you can hook it up with any EHS ecosystem to provide that frictionless way of reporting data. Okay, Bill, I think I might have gone over, but I'm done. Well, I think we're just back to questions, really.
Oh, great. Thank you, Rob. Really, really insightful presentation. And we have time for questions now. So thank you so much for that. We'll bring in Dermot right now, and we'll have a couple questions. And I highly recommend everybody please use the Q&A function in the live stream tab. Any questions that you want to ask about Rob's presentation, we'll try to answer those now. Any questions that you think of after the presentation, please send them anyway, and we can try to answer those offline. So we will invite in Dermot now.